Hey there, Ross in the North Very West. We recorded this already. It's take two.
Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house, or the house burns down.
Welcome back to the Red Right Hand Podcast, the show that covers each and every episode of the Peaky Blinders. I'm Josh.
And I'm in Zen. I feel good. I feel great. And I am Curtis.
We are back for round 2 of season 5, episode 2.
Part 2. Redo.
Part 2.
Redo.
The redo.
The redo.
Yeah.
Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
The first one is Lost to Time.
Yeah, if anybody finds it, let me know. Though I doubt anybody will find it.
It's out there somewhere.
Somewhere. It's lost on my computer somewhere. Because it said we both were like witnesses to it. It was recording and it said it stopped recording. Where it sent those files, I have no clue. So
yeah,
I don't know. I've looked everywhere on my computer though. So
yeah. So we can't just skip episode 2. We gotta. If you've ever lost an episode, you know the struggle. You got to go back. You got to try to recreate it. It's terrible. So we're just gonna try to get through this one.
the best we can.
Yeah, just do what we can here. So the episode starts out and Tommy wakes up. We see that he's still going hard on the morphine. And this is where we kind of talked about some things in the season being real, not real, kind of based on how much Tommy's using. We talked about the bar a little bit, and just some, I don't know, he's generally paranoid throughout the entire episode. So that was one of the things we kind of noted, because in the last episode, when he took it, he would see Grace.
Right. Yep. So obviously his mental state's starting to crumble a little.
Yeah. And he tells Polly later in the episode that he is seeing things, that he is having visions. So I'm sure that, coupled with his not sleeping, is
right. We've seen this before when he took the morphine in season 3. So
yeah,
he was seeing visions and whatnot. So
yeah. He goes out into the field and there's a scarecrow that's dressed up like him. And we find out later on that it's the Billy Boys, but they've laid this out for him just kind of as a message that his time's up. I think there was a pocket watch hanging from it too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. There's a note that says, "Look down and see what you've sown." And he notices that there are a bunch of landmines all throughout the field that they buried there. He does kind of have a moment there where he, I guess, is just considering taking himself out, because he's standing over one of the mines and about to slam his fist down on it. But he stops himself. And then Charlie runs out to tell him, Charlie Jr., little Charlie, runs
Big
out
Charlie.
to...
Wait!
Yeah. Wait, Tommy!
Tommy!
Little Charlie runs out to tell him that he has a phone call, and they meet in the middle of the field. Tommy's just obviously really worried about Charlie running over one of these mines. And then Charlie's got a violin lesson, so that's how Tommy gets rid of him. Then we get that really dramatic scene where Tommy goes out and shoots the landmines, and they blow up the field. Yeah. Which we see more
That's my interpretation.
angry Tommy gun firing into the air in the trailer for the next season.
This is true, man. Bah, 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 bah.
So then when Tommy goes back inside,
so wait, hold on. You're trying to tell me to be continued on the on the random gunfire?
Yeah.
Okay. So hang in there, people.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's
Yeah.
coming.
It's coming. When he goes back inside the house, he gets a phone call from Michael. Oh no, that was okay. So that was the phone call that he had missed while he was out there in the field. Calls the operator, gets a call back, and it's Michael on the other end, but he's being held by the IRA. A woman with the IRA tells, and he said this lady's in season 6, right?
Yes, yeah, she will be.
Okay.
She was actually in the trailer.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't remember every person in the trailer.
Yeah.
So she tells Tommy that Michael was there making a deal with some guys that want him dead. Do we figure out who he was talking with, who these guys were?
Yeah, later on when he, gets his chance to actually tell his story in the bar or at the garrison, he tells him straight up it was Billy Boys.
Oh, they were also Billy Boys.
Mm-hmm, yeah, so we're getting connections here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they give him the choice. Do they want Tommy to have Michael sent back so they can deal with him, or does Tommy want them to just go ahead and take care of it right here? And Tommy wants to have him sent home. He wants to settle this in-house, and get to the bottom of it. So he has Michael sent back. It's one of those scenes that really doesn't mean a lot, but they're just kind of trying to show you that Tommy's coming undone. When Charlie comes in and tells Tommy that he's learned something, and he starts playing his violin, but it's just so bad.
That look on Tommy's face.
Yeah, and Tommy's just staring into the void.
Questioning life. I should have hit that mine. I should have hit the mine. I know I should have. Maybe I should have thrown him on the mine. That's probably what, or his violin. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but that music reminded me a lot of There Will Be Blood.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same.
Soundtrack for that.
There's a lot of music in this episode besides Charlie playing that is really fitting, I think, for the episode, for all the paranoia and betrayal.
They should have just had a whole soundtrack of Charlie playing the violin for every scene. Just every scene that has a rock song or whatever, replace it with his crappy violin.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rough.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or whatever. Mary Had a Little Lamb.
So then Tommy and Arthur go over to the garrison. We talked a little bit about how the garrison looks really different from season to season. And they mention it the one time, how they've done the renovations, but it looks different even from then. The shape of the bar is different.
It's gone back to what it was in the first season.
Yeah.
That's
It
what's
looks
weird
really
to me.
narrow in there. Like it was
Yeah.
always, it looked like a bigger place, but it was pretty closed in there. And Finn's just kind of been spinning out of control. He's kind of in a weird place. He calls himself Tommy's brother that he forgot about. And he just doesn't really know where he fits into all this. He wasn't in the war with them, so he's not really a soldier, but he does feel a need to prove himself to them. So they're going to get him on some other sides of their business. They're going to have Finn take over fixing football games, some work that hopefully won't get him into trouble, and that's what they want.
That's what they want you to think, that it won't get them into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Tommy and Arthur have a little conversation just about Lizzie and Ruby staying with Arthur and Linda for the time being. And yeah, we're just kind of seeing that Tommy, like, he's ready for all of this to be over. He says, I don't like this life. He tells Arthur that he keeps having a dream, and in that dream, someone is coming for his crown. And yeah, I mean, at first it sounds like a lot of paranoia, but he is right. Among a lot of other people, the Billy Boys more prominently are kind of circling around everything that they've built.
Right, yeah. The lions are circling.
Yeah. So then Tommy gets a meeting from, I guess we decided he was an inspector.
Yeah, I think that's what we just kind of concluded on.
Yeah, he's with the police, but they're trying to make it. Well, this guy is at least trying to make a connection between the journalist that was murdered last episode at Tommy's behest, or I mean, that's it. Like they're like, if
I was
they're
wondering
that's
where
what
you're
they're
going with
trying to.
that.
Well, I was about to give it if it was that or this, but I was like, he's not implying any other thing. He's only implying that
that it's you, Tommy. Yeah.
yeah, that it's Tommy. That he came to see Tommy. He's got his name in his journal. But Tommy just makes it really clear for the guy that he's friends with his boss, and his boss doesn't like guys like him digging too deep into this stuff.
Right.
Just kind of a power flex there on him. So then they go to pick up Michael. It's Aunt Polly, Arthur, and a few guys. And Michael's brought his new wife with him. What's her name?
Gina.
Gina.
Um,
So he's got Gina with him. They got married on the boat. Is that what he said?
Yes, yeah. Because that's what he ends up saying is in his story, they were, let's see here, what was it? They needed like a minister basically, which I think the captain did it. And then they said something about a purser, which I don't know if that's a witness or whatever. But anyway, that's how he gets connected. That's how he says he gets connected with these Billy Boys is he talks to this guy and then, he gets him to get off and meet some of his friends, which are the Billy Boys, and then they all get back on the boat and yeah.
But he and Arthur just kind of go back and forth. Tommy's sent them there to kind of test him and see if he's still loyal to them, how he just kind of
Reacts.
presents himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's heated.
He dumb though for trying to. I mean, he act like he ready to take on Arthur, and it's like, dude, you don't want any of that. You don't want none of that smoke.
No, Arthur would fuck him up.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll eat your face for breakfast.
Yeah, I don't know why Michael's so upset. Like he's screwed them over a couple times now. He's acting like he shouldn't be getting treated this way,
Right.
but he didn't tell Tommy, like he was going to let Tommy get killed.
In the last season.
Yeah, and then he also didn't sell the stocks like he was supposed to.
Took somebody else's advice instead of Tommy's.
Yeah. So,
Which I think my thing is like, even if that would have worked out for you though, and we ended up making money, I think Tommy still would have been pissed at them though, because like, yeah, but you didn't listen to what I said.
yeah.
You know. So
but Polly listens to him and vouches for him and tells Arthur to call Tommy and let him know that he's telling the truth. So Tommy's speaking in the house, I guess the House of the Commons. And Oswald is there. He's watching Tommy, and he's also watching Ada.
Is he watching Ada?
He's just
I didn't get the impression that he was watching Ada. I got the impression
he's watching Ada.
that Tommy was speaking. Oswald was watching Tommy. Ada was watching Oswald watched Tommy, and then I was thinking, like, who in the world is watching Ada then?
Oh, I thought Oswald was looking at her too.
I didn't think he was. I thought he was just kind of like staring ahead while he was listening. I never got the impression that he was watching her, because she's just like more or less up in the balcony.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, he's just a kind of creepy guy. He's just a weird little dude.
Oh, it only gets worse from here.
So Tommy and Ada meet up with Oswald after. Seems like some kind of little officers club type, like in the back or something. I don't know what's going on there, but they talk about the Ireland question. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, I just
on like that is to him.
Yeah, I think that's just the whole deal of basically statehood for Ireland and not to be under the control of Britain, because at the time it's like they had, they were under control of Britain, or under the control of Britain, and they were allowed to have seats in the House. But it's like those guys didn't want to have to come sit over there. They want to go sit in their own state. They want to be a part of their own country. So it was a big push for a while there to try to, politically try to get out of control by the British government. And then, of course, you have the IRA violently trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I understood the Irish question to be.
Okay. Yeah, and Tommy's just not really interested in anything Oswald has to offer to him. But he offers him some kind of other position.
Some promotion.
Some ridiculous. Yeah, it was some ridiculous title.
House of Commons jester.
House of Commons leader to the third Duke of Weissenheimer.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I don't know. That's pretty tempting.
It was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like it was too much. I was like, oh,
Too much, man. Too much.
yeah. So he offers him position and stuff, but Tommy just doesn't really care. He's just focused on what they've got going right now, and more so on his paranoia that someone's coming to take it all away from him.
Well, not even that. They just come out and tell him basically it's like they know that he's moving away from the party or his beliefs, basically his political beliefs, and turning more to fascism. So it's like they obviously don't want anything to do with that, or at least according to Ada, Now Tommy, he may use that to his advantage, but yeah.
Yeah.
But even at that, it does go back to like what you're saying, the whole deal of he's worried about the, who's trying to take his crown. And he even goes as far to freak out to Ada about, Oswald and like, who is he and why is he asking me all these questions? And, it's like, what does he want from me? He wants my crown probably too,
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, once they get out of there, Tommy talks to Ada, and yeah, she's kind of right back to the paranoia. So they were talking about Belfast and the IRA, like what does he know? She's kind of Tommy's recent dealings with them and Michael.
Right.
It's making him question every little thing. So they go to meet at the bar after that. Tommy's just going to decide for himself what he thinks about Michael. He tells Aunt Polly that he's been seeing things. He keeps having a black cat dream, and a black cat dream always means that there's a traitor, among your people. So they meet at the garrison, and yeah, Michael just tells his story. They told them there's some guys looking to move goods into the U.S., I think, something like that.
Yeah.
But then they wound up not being that. They were Billy Boys, and they wanted Michael to betray Tommy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
And yeah, after some back and forth, like, I guess Tommy believes him, maybe, or at least says he does.
For the time being.
But yeah, and I don't think he trusts him at all, because he
lost that trust
he's
a
going
long
to
time
keep
ago,
him.
I think.
Yeah, he says he's going to keep him like closer than ever. So he can like really keep an eye on him. Yeah, they just have that little back and forth there at the end where he gets so upset about it because Tommy says, "All right, well, you said you're telling me the truth, and if Gina's pregnant, like your child is going to be born according to that truth you told." So yeah,
telling the truth, that kid's gonna be okay. You lie, that kid may be very deformed.
Yeah, or I mean, it could mean any number of things, like him saying that. It's just a
curse on him or whatever.
It's just a
basically.
threat, yeah, and to try to stab at him a little bit.
Yep.
So then we get this pretty brutal scene with Aberama and Bonnie Gold. Yeah, and I think so. They've got a song. The Billy Boys have a song like the IRA does.
We've rehearsed it. We're gonna sing it for you, right?
No.
Oh man, the people want it.
But yeah, they're pretty brutal. They're going to be the I I guess the biggest threat. I mean, I can't remember the rest of the season very well, so
Oh, don't worry,
I'm
it'll
going to
come to you.
assume that they're going to be a big threat this season.
Part of it,
Um,
yeah, part of it.
And the whole point in them attacking the golds is he knows that Bonnie is a really good prize fighter. Who's the guy who's their leader, the Billy Boys?
Oh, Jimmy McCavern.
Okay. Yeah, Jimmy knows that Bonnie is a big prize fighter, that everybody says he's the best. So he's kind of, by doing this, he's sending a message to Tommy that his best isn't good enough. And also with Aberama, because he's one of their like hired killers, and he's really good. So they kind of hit them out there in the open to show them that like nobody can protect you.
Yep.
And even when they talk about it in the garrison, Arthur seems genuinely concerned about that.
Yeah,
Like he
they already
knows the
know.
guy who leads them.
Yep, they already know who they are and everything. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You can tell he's kind of concerned about it for sure.
Yeah. They shoot Aberama. They string up Bonnie and shoot him also.
They put him on a
Yeah, it's just
cross,
pretty.
just like the Tommy dummy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's their thing.
Because they're Protestants.
Yep. Those crazy Protestants.
Woo! Protestants rule.
So yeah, then we get a scene with Arthur taking Finn to the new work he's going to be doing. And yeah, I think we kind of came to the conclusion that he was this guy that they've gone to see. He's a singer now, but he was a former football player and manager. And in addition to fixing horse races, they're kind of at the point where they need to start bringing in some other cash too. So they're going to start fixing these football matches.
Getting back to basics.
Yeah. So they're going to get this guy they've got a list of teams, and he's going to write down a player and what we thought was a number money wise for what it would take for each of those people to take a dive or affect the outcome of the game. So Finn's going to be taking that over, and hopefully they hope that it'll keep him kind of out of harm's way.
The guy's a pretty nervous character, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really nervous.
I like the part though when Arthur put his hand on his shoulder and he kind of reached for it, and Arthur's like, "Ugh, I'm good."
Yeah.
Like,
No.
that was kind of weird, but all right.
So then after that, it's kind of it's a combination of two scenes. They're both about the same thing. It's the letters that Lizzie and Linda have both written for Tommy and Arthur. Linda's written 2 letters, and we find out that she's just going to give Arthur one of them based on how he reacts to her telling him about these letters, like kind of what they're about, and her and Lizzie's thoughts for the future of the company, and stuff like that.
That and the future of their families. I feel it's more future of the families than anything. Which I mean, that's basically one and the same, I guess, basically because one affects the other. For sure. Because we talked about it before too in the Lost episode about
the Lost episode.
About how it's different now because they have families, they've got kids, they're married, so these women are having to worry about those children being raised up in the environment that Tommy and Arthur, basically have lived in the last, I don't know how many years, almost a decade now, Well, I guess it would be
Yeah.
basically a decade now. Yeah. So, yeah. Whereas before, when they didn't have kids and they weren't married to these people, they were just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had
Things
their own
change.
things going on. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Tommy takes it a little bit better. He at least reads the letter before he burns it. And yeah, he tells Lizzie that he and Arthur can't write them a letter, like laying everything out and explaining everything. Like you pointed out before, he says that they don't have the words,
And
Um,
he says it's like, I don't have the words, and the words have not been written to begin to describe, what we went through, in the war and everything. And we talked about it before too. It's like he straight up told her, it's like our lives could have been different. We didn't have to go to war. We didn't have to do this. We could have stayed in school and changed our lives for the better maybe, but we volunteered. We felt a sense of duty at that time. And so we volunteered and left school, and now we're having to pay for it, but it is what it is.
yeah,
And we're just kind of a product of our youth at that time,
yeah. But he's like changed so much too.
Oh, for
There
sure.
was a
Yeah.
very like confident guy who was a little bit more connected and down to earth in the first season. And by
Well,
this time,
not even that. It's like we learned in this last season about just a little snippet of his life before he even went to war, when he was talking to Jesse Eden about Greta Josie, and his relationship with her. And yeah, kind of like what you're saying though, is kind of more down to earth at that time and just kind of relaxed and laid back. And now it's just like, yeah, totally different. And then through these seasons, yeah, he's definitely changed.
yeah. And he's just unable to let go of everything. It seemed like there for like season 2 and 3, he had kind of put the war and everything kind of behind him. There were moments, like season 3 where he had to be in the tunnel, um, stuff like that, where it kind of came back. But when you're put in that situation, that's kind of different, other than just
Right.
like day to day life.
But I think one of the other
Um,
things too was, I mean, not to get too deep into this rabbit hole, but I think what helped him too was the fact that he had Grace. I mean, that kind of pushed the door closed on all that stuff when she was around, and he was with her and he had her, and then everything's going good, and then the moment it's like she's gone, it's like that door comes, breaking wide open again.
yeah. And at the end of season 4, he's unable to. We start to see that he can't do anything else. He's never tried to walk away from it all before. And at the end
Yeah.
of season 4, when they put him on that kind of vacation period, he can't even relax, because anytime he would hear people out hunting, he like jumped down like into the water and was like hiding. Um,
Yeah. Well,
so yeah, it's
PTSD.
just, yeah, for sure. And yeah, he's never tried to live outside of it until the end of season 4. He was clearly unable to. And now, yeah, it's just kind of the same thing. Like, I don't think he can see himself outside of it.
Well, yeah, now that's the
And he
problem,
doesn't
because
want to
it's
give it up.
like, right, but that's the problem though. He's at the dilemma now. I feel that it's like, like you said, I've tried going outside of, the box, or, the world that I've known for these last however many years, and try to live a normal life, but I just can't do it. And now is I'm coming back to the life that I didn't really want, and I really don't want it anymore, but then I can't even go do the other thing that's just normal. So it's like now I'm just kind of
Yeah.
stuck in this limbo. And so I think that's where you start to get some of those suicide attempts, in that first episode about him, shooting the horse and then immediately putting the gun to his head, and then having the moment to himself there in the fields about, throwing his fist onto top of the mine and just blowing himself to hell.
Yeah. But it's Ruby's birthday, and she wants him to be there for it.
Lizzie, that is.
Yeah. And so before he goes in and sits down with them, he makes a phone call to somebody, we don't know who it is yet, saying that he has some questions about Michael Gray. So he's still, I think he's just trying to let you know that he's not convinced.
Right, yeah.
But then a car comes speeding down the drive. And we said before, it just kind of goes back to what we were saying. There's two sides to it. And obviously, Lizzie's validated because she has to grab the kids and run them into another room. And she tells Charlie that we never know who's coming. It's just kind of a bad situation for them.
Yeah. Definitely not a situation to grow up, have kids in.
Yeah.
For sure.
And yeah, it's Abraham Gold, and he's got Johnny Dolls with him. He's smashed him up pretty good. Abraham is just convinced that the only reason that the Billy Boys found them was because of Johnny, which I don't think that's true. I mean, they were able to find out where Tommy lives. I think they found them probably pretty easily.
Right. It just kind of goes back to their tension that they had in last season when Abraham got hired by Tommy. I mean, it was immediate that Johnny didn't like him. He already knew about him. He didn't like him. He didn't appreciate the fact that Tommy was hiring him on, and everything. So
Yeah.
now that kind of transcends over into this next episode. So yeah. But I'm with you too. I don't really know if I really believe it, but who knows?
Yeah. It's just a lot of back and forth. Amram is just kind of losing his mind, but Tommy convinces him that they can still get revenge. And even Lizzie runs out with a gun and tries to throw everybody out, even Tommy. But Tommy's not really having it. He's
Not in my
not in the
house.
mood for that. Yeah.
Or not in my courtyard, I guess.
Then we talked a little bit about, what a twist it would be if Johnny Dobbs actually did betray Tommy, if he was actually the one who did all of this.
Right. Because that line at the end of the episode there where as Tommy says something about Johnny Dog says something, I didn't do it, I didn't betray you or whatever, and he says, of all this I'm sure in the world that you're the one person I can trust or whatever, or I can trust or something. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be pretty crazy though if that was like not true. You can't really trust him, especially because we talked about it in this last episode about how if that came true where it was Johnny Dogs who betrayed him, you wouldn't be, to me it's like you would not be able to go back and rewatch the whole series without like just having disgust for Johnny Dogs anytime they give him any like screen time.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a twist.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the rest of the season. Hopefully there'll be some more clues the next couple episodes that kind of help to, I mean, there might not even be, as far as things right now, there might not even really be a betrayal, It's
Right.
just the fact that the Billy Boys have decided to make this time, this is the time to move.
Right.
So, we'll just have to see over these next couple episodes.
4 more to go.
All right. Yep. That's it for this one. 4 more to go in this season. Then we'll be going over some of the teasers and trailers and ending to season 5. That's going to bring us into season 6. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a little bit of a timeline. Do we know how far after this season the next one's going to take place?
No, I haven't heard anything yet. Of course, again, it's
Okay.
like there'll probably be some information that comes out sooner or later as we go along.
Yeah.
You're getting closer.
Yeah. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that new stuff. So I'm probably keeping an eye to the YouTube and see when we're posting those new videos on there's the different teasers and trailers that come out between here and there, between its eventual release date.
Right.
But until then, just make sure and go over to YouTube. You can follow us at Is Survived By Productions, or just search the Red Right Hand Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Red Right Hand PO1. And you can also find us on Twitch at GhostLad676. And then my personal Twitter, it should just be down there at Joshua Lingary. All right. We'll see you guys next week for season 5, episode 3.
See ya. Somebody call 911. He's choking.
No.